What's up, guys? So we are still on the struggle grind when it comes to tech. Yeah, so as you know from my last video, tried to get a new computer, didn't quite work out, and so we're back on to the old computer, which is still slow and it keeps corrupting my video while I'm editing it. So yeah, it's depressing, but it's what I'm working with right now, so we'll see how much I can get out, but I'm not being as consistent as I want to because of it. But I'm not going to get into that today. Today we finally have this back and bicep workout coming to you. Like in my previous video, I'm going to put some of the stuff up on the screen if I don't show the entire, all the sets and reps. Basically what I was focusing on today, I was with a training partner. He's my best friend from freshman year, Colby. You might have seen him in some of the previous videos. And we were really doing a, I guess it was kind of a high volume day. I'm not sure. I've been mixing it up a lot lately, just because training has been getting a little dull doing the same thing. So I've been trying to mix it up and keep things fresh. So we opened with this huge pyramid set where we started with like 35s on each side. We worked all the way up from 12 reps, then we did 10 reps, 8 reps, and then a heavy 6 rep set. And then we kind of went all the way back down with a big drop set where we just kind of traded off, no rest time really, just enough for your partner to go. And I mean, throwing stuff in like that, where it's not just a normal 3x8 or 4x6, you know, something that's just a little outside the norm. I like that a lot, and it's great, especially with, you know, a bigger lift, I guess, or more compound lift, to really just hit the entire muscle group hard before you go into specific kinds of hypertrophy training, specific exercises that kind of target only one part of the muscle. And so when you have bent over barbell rows, it engages a lot. I mean, your back is really engaged the whole time, from the lower back, which is keeping you bent over, to the upper back, which is how I mean, you're trying to keep it pinched together and trying to row with it. All of it's involved. And so when I do these first ones, especially towards the higher reps, I really want to use something that's going to tax the system, so I do tend to let form slide compared to what I would usually want to with the actual bodybuilding movement or even a powerlifting movement. I kind of rock and roll. As you see in this one, it's not pretty, but I'm okay with that. You can see I wasn't too happy.
It's making me look bad.
Trust me, I don't know if that really counts as any reps. So I mean, yeah, the reps, I counted them. I said I didn't, but I look back at, they weren't terrible. They definitely weren't pretty. And then here's that giant drop set, just burning it out, quickly stripping the weights and going back and forth until we got back up to 12 reps. But yeah, going heavy isn't always terrible. It's a good way to I guess it's a good way to hit the muscle a little differently, especially if all you've been doing is hypertrophy training. Strength training is really imperative, especially if you're a natural lifter. It's probably the best way to get your muscle to grow. Now obviously when I say strength training, I don't mean sloppy reps all the time, but every once in a while, if you throw in some really heavy reps on strength training, especially if you get the form down, you know what you're doing is a little bit of momentum, but you know how to do it safely, like, that's okay. Other than that, all these other movements, very slow and controlled, trying to keep my scapula retracted the entire time. Like at the beginning of the workout, I think you saw me doing those hanging, kind of like, you might be wondering, like, what was he doing? It looked like you were hanging on a bar. I warm up my scapula now, like I would warm up my rotator cuff before you would do any kind of chest exercise. Just because whenever you're doing a back exercise, whether it be that close grip, pull down, or here, this underhanded seated row, you really want to try to keep your shoulder blades together the entire time and keep constant tension in the back. And one of your back's biggest movements is to pull your shoulder blades back and down. So if you pull them back and down, your back's automatically kind of locked in and it's already contracted. And when you're doing these bodybuilding kinds of movements where you want that constant tension, that time under tension, instead of just moving a lot of weight, that's really important. So I like to warm that up. And hanging on the bar like that, I would just kind of let it release, and I'd pull my shoulder blades back and down again. It would bring me up, and I'd release it a little bit. And if you look at it closely, you can see it contracting. And I think it's just as important as warming up your shoulders, your rotator cuffs when you're doing benching and stuff. Because it's another thing that you can knock cue and you can hurt because there's smaller muscles back there. I think that's why a lot of people get back pain from, and I know I did, from deadlifting really heavy and not not knowing how to contract my upper back the right way. But yeah, I'm rambling now. But anyway, that was the main key in this workout going forward after the heavier set, was very, very good form and really trying to keep that very strict muscle contraction going the entire time. And at the end here with these kind of supersets, it's tough. You know, you're really burned out, and it's hard enough to mentally get yourself to do the rep. It's even harder to get yourself to do the rep the right way, to really keep everything that should be contracted contracted. And especially like here where we're supersetting, these are one after another, no rest. It's tough to mentally focus on where you want to pull with, because when you're doing face pulls, for example here, if you pull it, you can really activate your rear delta a lot and almost make this a shoulder exercise. But what I'm doing is I'm purposefully contracting my back, contracting my rhomboids, pulling my scapular together, and causing it to become a back exercise. And that's just part of learning how your body works and learning how your body feels. You know, you've got to feel this out as time goes on if you want to become really good at this sport or really good at anything. You've got to spend time learning, you know, the kind of movement behind it, the movement patterns. And so, like any other sport, bodybuilding, men's physique, aesthetic, you know, all that stuff, you've got to learn how to activate your muscles the right way. As you can tell, I have a lot more practice in that than Colby. You'll see him, he looks a little sloppier on a lot of his stuff, and that's just because, you know, working out is not his primary, it's not his primary goal. You know, for me, I put a lot of time into working out, and for Colby, that's just not, you know, his forte. He works out with me all the time, but he doesn't put as much effort and research into it as I do, because he's got other interests in life. He's got other things he's pursuing a little more heavily. And so when he trains me, I do try to pass on some of that, I guess some of that knowledge that I have about, you know, time and attention and feel and what it looks like to mentally activate that. And maybe by looking at this video, you guys can see the difference between my lifts and his, of what mental cueing looks like and how you tell yourself how you want to lift the weight. Because we're both doing the same exercises the entire time, but there is a noticeable difference between how we do them. And I think that just comes with experience. Colby and I have both been lifting a long time, but I think we both, well, I don't want to talk bad about Colby, but I think I am a little bit more consistent than him. And so I think you can see that in our workouts, that I have a more, I guess have a more of a command over the weight than he does. And like I said, if you guys really want to become good at this kind of stuff, consistency is key here, because consistency is going to allow you to build that kind of mental connection with your muscles. You know, if you look at these lifts here, you're building more than just muscle when you lift a weight or when you do anything. You're building neurological pathways. You know, you build new, it's almost like your body's an amazing thing. You know, when you work out, you're telling your body's relaying so much information, and so much is going on. You're not just building a muscle be bigger. Your body's smart enough to send pathways and stuff. If it realizes you're doing a lot of repetitions in a certain way, it'll create new pathways to allow that muscle to contract better and more organized and more fluidly, because the body adapts. You know, the body is always looking for homeostasis. It's looking to stay in a comfortable area and not go to any other extremes. So when you have these extreme workouts, it has to adapt to adjust to that, because it doesn't want to get pulled out of its homeostasis. And so you're creating like these giant neurological pathways, and if you're consistent enough, you can see the difference. You can see someone who really can control a weight and has complete control over how their muscle contracts against a load, compared to someone who is still learning and still building those pathways, and there's a choppier movement of the weight, or it's less, I guess, almost like a unit. You know, if you watch a lat pull down, you'll see some people lean back and yank and pull and rock, and they're trying to move too much weight, and they may not be consciously thinking it, but even if they're trying to contract smoothly, it might just be that those neurological pathways just aren't there yet. They're not made, and the repetition and the years of practice are what's going to bring that about, not necessarily the amount of weight you're lifting. And so with bodybuilding, I do like to mix in my powerlifting in the off season, but I love bodybuilding for the aspect of that consistency and that high rep and volume. It allows you to kind of perfect movement patterns. You know, I think we get labeled a lot, especially I do, as kind of like a bro, or, you know, some kind of like D-bag who just goes into the gym and throws right around and does curls and tries to show off for girls. And it's sad that people have to think that way about it, because it's just not, it's just a stereotype, guys. You know, if you enjoy this, you can make this, you can make what I'm doing here and what you're doing in the gym, you can make it a lifestyle, and you can help other people with it. You know, I study this, I enjoy this, this is what I like to do up at night. You know, I like to look up and read about better ways to do what I love, which is this. And people can call you whatever they want, but it's not going to change the fact that this is what I love to do, and I want to know the ins and outs of it, and I want to be able to convey those ins and outs of it to you guys from what I've learned. And this has been the most scatterbrained commentary I've ever given, but you know what, I'm keeping it. It's tough because I'm just looking at a blank screen right now, because the video, I don't know if it's corrupted or not at this point. Hopefully it's not, and that you guys are actually watching a video, but I'm looking at a blank preview screen and following the little, if any of you have edited, you know what I'm talking about. I'm following the little bars that goes across, and it can kind of tell me where I'm sort of at. But I'm kind of just ballparking it because my preview screen is saying nothing. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it's a little bit, you know, a little bit informative. I do try to kind of, I don't know if it's like teach a lesson or whatever, but I do try to portray or convey some kind of knowledge throughout these. If you did like, if you did like it, please leave a comment. Especially leave a like, hit that thumbs up button. That always makes me feel better, makes my day, helps me keep making these despite the millions of failed renders. And if you want to hear more crazy scientific stuff that's not really that crazy or scientific, head over to www.ironfamilyfitness.com. I've got an ebook out that goes through a lot of this lifting stuff, especially if you're new, it'll help you out. And other than that, guys, please stay safe, keep lifting, keep grinding, keep moving forward. And remember, here at this channel, we're not the ones who give up their morals to be cool. We are not the people who do anything to fit in a room of fools. That's my 2 cents, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Give me your hand and we'll make it there soon. Life is just one beautiful view. We'll eventually get there. This is the pursuit. This is the pursuit. This is the pursuit.